Hey folks, I'm Sir Vainglory, back with another Anatomy of a Battle video. Another 1v1 battle between the 12th SS-Panzer Division and the 101st Airborne Division, commanded by Yankee Rose on the Pointe De Hoc map. My plan this time is to push along the main road on the right hand side, where I can hopefully get infantry to push up, covered by fire from tanks, machine guns, half-tracks, towards those easily identified defendable points ahead there. I don't want to advance too much on the left because there are far too many areas in there for ambush, so I plan just to feint up in that direction and then swing the main attack up through the centre and the right flank. So that's the plan. The initial forces I've got essentially just enough to get me some vision forward with the ability to suppress from long range. So I've got some recce, a couple of infantry squads and half-tracks, and a mortar and a couple of support and half-tracks. So not too much at all. I want to try and build up my forces quickly, and I don't plan to push too far forward, so I want to stay relatively near to the reinforcements, let him push forward a bit, and then once I've got enough armour, enough infantry, then I'll move into the attack. So we begin pushing forward. I'm not entirely sure what orders I've given my mortar, because that sets off cross country, takes forever to get anywhere. But I think straight away I've not pushed far enough forward. I've given him far too much ground, and you can see where he's laying his smoke screen, where he's advancing. So I am too far back right from the get-go. I do begin pushing the scouts forward up towards the next tree line. The last couple of units are just moving into place, so I'm now pushing up the recce squads, both on the left and the right, just to try and get some vision on where the Americans might be. But you can see that he's already 58% control of the map, and I'm already in a bit of bother. So over on the left, I've got an SPW 222 and an SD KFZ 250/9, and I've got vision along the road, and I'm moving up the other 09 towards the tree line in the centre. So again, you can see even though I've moved up the recce, I still don't have any sight on any of his units, so I'm a long way from having any of my own units get into contact with him. But I'm pushing up now on the left, and the front line has been pushed back, so doesn't seem to have too much there. But on the left hand side it does look like it's anchored to the side, so there must be something in the far flank. In the mini-map you can see he's pushed right up in the right hand flank, and I'm guessing it's something like a 50 cal jeep or a light tank to be moving that quickly. The first contact on the main road, an airborne rifle squad's pushed into the building, and it's engaged by my SPW 222 and a half-track. I start drawing my Panzer Grenadiers in the centre over towards the right, hoping to get into a flanking position on them and give me some vision to what might be beyond the trees in front of my forces at the main road. So my scouts get a glimpse of another infantry unit. I think it's Airborne Engineers on the main road. And from the front line I can tell that there's something moving towards me in the centre. And a truck appears and unloads a rifle squad, and my half-track and my infantry both engage it and pin it down. The squad on the right seems to have disappeared. I don't think I could have destroyed it, so I imagine it's just pulled back a bit. And over on the left I've pulled my 259 back to redeploy it in towards the centre. At this point a Mustang comes in and engages bombs my Panzer Grenadiers, but the pressure's beginning to tell on the airborne rifles that are pinned out in the open, and they begin to get whittled down. So over on the right hand flank, we've now got vision on an anti-tank gun. It's away out on the right. It's not much of a danger because it's out of range, but it is moving. So I've brought up a Panzer II along the main road, just trying to build up my forces there in preparation for an advance. But the American player starts laying down more smoke to cover a further advance up towards the buildings here at the crossroads. Rifle squad over in the centre's now worn down and it's eventually destroyed, and I again start moving my units there, just pushing them forward. My 251/1 spots rifles just as they come out of the forest in the right hand side of the centre. It moves up there and it engages them as they break cover. And the main road, this infantry, I presume it's the same infantry's back in the building again. And it either pulls out or the smoke is obscuring it. I think it might be the smoke that's doing it. So my Panzer Grenadiers engage the rifles over in to their left. I've pushed my 250/9 forward in the centre and begin moving other units up to support there. But the Panzer Grenadiers and their half-track don't have any orders, so they just sit rather than pushing a flank attack in on that airborne rifle squad. So I could have moved in there and potentially wiped them out, forced them back. Over in the right flank, I'm a bit concerned that the Americans might have pushed more units forward when I realised it was open, so I'm moving the Panzer Grenadiers and the Panzer II over to try and spot what's there. And the Americans now shelling my positions in the main road. The Panzer II on the right, spotted by anti-tank gun, and it's one-shotted, so the anti-tank gun wasn't a danger until I gave it a target. And then back in the centre, an American tank is spotted. I reckon it's a Stuart light tank. I've got a 250/9 and my Pak 38 in the vicinity, and they both engage the tank, and it doesn't last very long. We're back over at the main road. We're wearing down the American infantry, but I don't have enough infantry of my own to be able to push forward safely. I don't want to expose my half-tracks to any anti-tank guns that he might have. So I'm not really able to take advantage of having pushed them back. The American spotted my Pak 38 and begins to target that with its mortar, which is better than hitting my infantry, to be honest. The main road's clearly where the American's concentrating his effort. I've spotted an anti-tank gun over on the left as I push up. Fortunately we're able to eliminate it before it gets a shot away. So the American brings in a Mustang on the main road, and it targets my column that's there. Manages to suppress them. And back on the left, I'm now being held up by a machine gun of all things. My half-track, my SPW-222, I don't push forward against it, I just sit back and try and destroy it from range. But the Americans managed to push something right up to my rear areas on the right hand side. I reckon it's a Panzer, a light armoured unit, so I've got a Panzer II moving over to deal with it. And things are looking grim up here in the main road now, with the Mustang attack having wiped out some of my units and forced the rest to fall back. So I start pulling in units from the centre across to the right to try and get in on the flank there. Another Mustang gets called in. But from here I should have pushed diagonally up into the area where his artillery is. That could have made a bit of a difference, but we concentrate on trying to deal with this airborne rifle squad that's in the forest. So again, more smoke gets laid in. Over on the left, I'm still trying to deal with this machine gun, but an airborne engineer squad has appeared, and it takes out one of my half-tracks. It then pushes forward through the trees, but comes right out onto the road here and gets caught in the open. So it gets pinned down by fire from the half-track and my Panzer Grenadier squad. So I've got my Panzer II moving across now to try and clear my reinforcement area. And you can see that things are pretty much at a standstill. There's more reinforcements coming in the centre. On the main road there's a Pathfinder squad in the building there, and my half-tracks are moving up to try and deal with them. But they are quite tough, and they engage the half-tracks with a satchel charge. Take one of them out. In the rear area, my Panzer II managed to give me back control of the reinforcement point, and I bring in a Panzer IV that's quickly able to deal with that Stuart and begin moving up the main road. In the centre, the American is throwing in reinforcements, but I'm happy just to hold them off for a while, and I try to keep pushing to the right towards the main road and try and force a breakthrough there. All here's left at the crossroads are the remains of the Pathfinder squad. So I reckon that I should be able to get some movement there. And especially at this point, I've got my first real armour units coming in. I think I should be able to turn things in my favour now. But the Pathfinders are still there in the building with a command squad behind. But fire from the half-tracks and the SPW 222 eventually do for the Pathfinders. So over on the left, the engineer squad is still pinned down in that road. That's nearly 2 minutes they've been hanging on over there. And pretty hardy. So quite a few units I've lost over there. I think about 3 half-tracks have all been destroyed over on that left flank. Anyway, on the main road I've got my Panzer IV moving up. There's a Panzer II there as well. So they move up into position to engage the command squad that's in the trees ahead. There's also still the scout car up there. So this is quite a lot of firepower. Just to engage 2 guys from a command squad. And they don't even manage to destroy them either, as I'll find out later. So another Mustang comes in the centre, targets my anti-tank gun there and wipes it out. And over on the right I've called in an MU-109 to target the anti-tank gun that I'd spotted earlier, and it's a bit of a waste on reflection. Particularly because I just left it to its own devices, so when it turns back to make another pass, it runs right into a Mustang that's been called in and becomes pretty easy prey for it. So I don't even manage to destroy the anti-tank gun, but the Mustang pulls round, comes in and shoots down my MU-109. So I've now finally managed to get a good rate of force in the main road, and I managed to trying to push forward. But there's a squad in here that's able to hold off my infantry, forced my Panzer IV to fall back and take out my Panzer II. I think that was another Pathfinder squad that was in there. No, it wasn't actually, just a airborne rifle squad. But there was a Pathfinder squad there, as you can see just towards the centre. I have 4 machine guns targeting it. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference, especially when the command squad from earlier moves across to join it. But fortunately that squad doesn't last very long. Managed to pin it down and eventually take it out. So on the main road rifle squad over there surrenders, but in the centre, Stuart light tank engages my 250/9 and it manages to take it out. Straight away, the Stuart then turns and engages the half-track with my Panzer Grenadiers. The Grenadiers get out, but the half-track quickly falls victim to the Stuart tank again. And then, once it's taken out the half-track, it begins to tear up my infantry. So taking out 2 half-tracks and infantry, and just like that, the Stuart has taken control of the centre, and I've got absolutely nothing left there. Can't quite see it in that shot. But in the main road I'm moving up another couple of half-tracks, and appear to have finally managed to deal with the Pathfinders in the centre, so begin pushing forward now in earnest. Over on the far left I've moved up a Panzer IV, so we're pushing forward under cover of fire from that. We've got some infantry up there as well. And this is back in the centre. Stuart is still firing away at my Panzer Grenadiers there, wearing them down. All I've got there to provide any support is my mortar. And over on the right flank, dealt with the anti-tank gun finally, but a 50 cal jeep's appeared. And you can see now in the centre with my Panzer Grenadiers wiped out, the Americans' complete control. Over on the left there's strong resistance, anti-tank gun and a full airborne rifle squad's appeared. I've got 4 guys up there who are low in ammo, so it's not going too well over on the left. Infantry's just about to be destroyed. And back over in the main road, the advance is slowed up by a machine gun again. Panzer IV and several other vehicles hang back and try to destroy it from range. But to the right of the road, an airborne engineer squad has appeared, and it could be a danger to the tank, so I've got my infantry trying to deal with that squad in the trees. And fortunately I've got another Panzer IV moving up, and that engages them from long range as well. So they're pinned. I think I've destroyed them, but in reality I don't think I did. But the Americans got more units pushed forward, and the advance of his on the left more than cancelled out my advance on the right. The Stuart light tank now engages my mortar, but fortunately the Panzer IV over there is able to engage it and force it to fire back. So another unit pulls back rather than being destroyed. It's a feature for the battle. Over on the left, with that Panzer IV completely unsupported, I've decided to pull it back and move it in towards the gap in the centre. I need to try and do something about that. Over on the far right, light tank appears, charges towards us, but my 250/9 manages to kill it quite quickly. However, a couple of aircraft are brought in to target the units I've got advancing up the main road, and again there's quite a bit of suppression as a result of that. So the American now has nearly 1800 points, and at this point I think that he only needs 2000 for victory, so I'm frantic to try and push back the bulge in the centre, and I've got 2 Panzer IVs now heading in that direction to try and push him back. I'm still not really advancing in the main road. I think I might actually have forgotten to give them any orders to move any further forward. I think they just seem to hold there. So another Mustang comes in and unloads a couple of bombs. And again there's quite a bit of suppression as a result of that. And over on the right, 50 cal Jeep still around, but my 250/9 half-track eventually manages to do for that. And I've now finally managed to give my forces in the main road advance orders, so they start to push forward, and a bit of strength. But another Stuart appears coming through the centre. So I'm looking if the Stuart in the centre has its transmission damaged, and I think if I can manage to destroy that, hopefully I'll get control of that part of the map back and at least manage to push it to 50-50 before the American gets to 2,000 points. But I've now spotted an anti-tank gun up on the main road. It engages one of my Panzer IVs and knocks it out. So with that, I decide to get the rest of the vehicles off the main road and try and push forward on the flanks. I really need to get more infantry up there to support. I only got that sort of half squad that's left. But I'm pushing forward on the right flank now, which is something at least. But I've lost visual in the Stuart that was in the centre, so I keep pushing the tanks up to try and find it and eliminate that bulge. As a Panzer IV moves up, it's engaged by the remains of a rifle squad. So there's a brief firefight here, and it seems like the tanks managed to eliminate the infantry. But it turns out they were just reloading their bazooka, and they take out my tank. But despite that, I'm still gradually pushing it back towards 50-50. Hopefully going to be able to make it. He's at 1950 points. So I keep pushing on the right, and then I find the Stuart in the centre, and the Panzer IV manages to take it out. So we're now at 51% to 49%, and it looks like I might be able to stop the victory. And get a 250/9 engaging the Stuart that remains in the centre. So trying to just do what I can to move them back. Moving up a Panzer IV towards that Stuart as well. And we've managed to get it back to 50-50 with him 10 points short of 2,000. As I'm pushing past this house, I see that there are still American units in there. 2 Pathfinders are still in there. And in the centre I'm pushing up my Panzer IV, and that airborne rifle squad manages to take out a second Panzer IV with its bazooka. The half-track manages to escape destruction there. They move back to try and take them on, and not as lucky the second time around. So two Panzer IVs and a half-track tallied up by that half squad of rifles there. So the main road, once again, don't have enough troops to continue the advance. My tank's off chasing the Stuart in the centre, and the light armour on the right hand side's falling back. But with the push on the right flank and my inroads in the centre, I do manage to get 51% of the map. But then the Pathfinders in that building lob a satchel charge at my Whirlwind and take it out. And then my Panzer Grenadier squad surrender to the one trooper that's left there. So I reckon that must have been Sergeant Rock that was in charge of that platoon, or that squad. So bringing an ME-109 again, and pretty much the same results as last time. It makes a strafing pass at the gun, and a Mustang comes in and engages my plane. 109 goes down in smoke. So Americans now beginning to build up enough forces over on the right hand side to push me back. You can see he's got some medium tanks now available to him. He's got more than enough there to wipe my forces out if he pushes. I'm trying to bring up my Panzer IV to the right, both to give support and also to try and take out his tanks. It's potentially a bit isolated there. The Pathfinders are still in that building, so we engage that in the way past. But that was a feature of these units that I think are half wiped out, and they just go to ground and then they reappear later on. But my Panzer IV eventually gets into position where it can target his armour, and it manages to take out one of his tanks straight away. And then a second shot further into the distance, it takes out another tank there. So I'm now trying to focus on dislodging the infantry that's in that building there on the main road. I've only got half a dozen men here in my Panzer IV really to provide any pressure there. The American has 3 tanks and an anti-tank gun that I still have to worry about. But I'm now bringing up a Tiger tank and I'm pushing up some artillery along the main road. I've also got a squad pushing forward on the left hand side, but you can see from the front line there's still a lot of Germans around there. So back at the main road, my infantry are being worn down. My infantry on the left have been engaged by a strong force, and the Stuart light tank is happily firing into the little infantry I've got left by the main road. My Panzer IV, I'm trying to pull it back towards some support, and as I pull it back, these Pathfinders have another satchel charge handy, and they take out the tank. So with the tank gone and the Stuart wiping out my remaining infantry in the main road, I've got nothing left to prevent being overrun. We've got half-track and a scout car and an ammo truck. And the Americans are pushing forward on the right hand side. So my Tiger moves up the road in the centre. It's encountered by the Sergeant Rock and his bazooka, but his luck runs out this time and they manage to take him down. So in neutral mode you can see how strong a force the American has available to him, while I've essentially just got a scout car, a half-track and a Tiger. My rocket artillery is in range now and I just fire blind, and it turns out to be more effective than I ever imagined it would be. A bit more of that, I might have been able to turn the things in my favour, but I don't have the units to take advantage of it. So I'm trying to get forces forward to stem the tide, but I don't think even a draw will be salvageable now. The American tanks are advancing pretty much unopposed over on the right hand side. There's at least 2, potentially 3 tanks I think moving up there, and I don't have any anti-tank capability at all over that side. On the left I know there's at least a strong infantry force, but probably with some support. But I do need to try and push back there, try and get some ground back. So I've got 2 Tigers there, a half-track and a scout car, plus 1 infantry squad. So I've managed to destroy the Stuart and Sergeant Rock that would given the Americans real control of the centre, and I've got control of that area back, but the Americans still control 57% of the map, and they're bringing in Mustangs to bomb the troops that are moving forward on the left hand side. Fortunately they're pretty ineffective that time. I'm trying to bring some infantry up along the main road, but it is anti-tank that I really need over there to deal with the tanks out on the right flank. I don't have any visual at all in any of the American units now. Most of my units are too far back to get any sight on them at all. The smoke in the main road begins to clear and we're able to spot a few units further back. Nothing that I'm able to engage. You can see there's another tank coming up. But the Americans now building up forces and strength on the right hand side. And over on the left hand side we eventually find the rifle squad that I was expecting. So over on the right hand side I'm trying to get scouts up to give me some vision on his units, give me an idea of where we might be able to push back, but I don't really think I'm going to manage it with what I've got left at my disposal. He's got still artillery up there pounding away, going for my machine gun in the centre. The rest of the units are clustered up round about the crossroads. So we're pretty much ground to a halt there. And over on the left, we've now encountered a force and strength. I'm hoping that the two Tigers might be able to push them back, but I'm not going to have time to make any real gains there. And the last reinforcements that I was able to bring in is a Panther that I'd wanted to send up the main road, but I need to send that out to the right hand flank to try and deal with whatever's there gaining the American the ground. That's my only hope, is to try and prevent that advance and take that big chunk of territory back. But we don't have time to accomplish that. And the loss of my machine gun in the centre here, that pretty much does for me. And the scout car on the right hand side is also destroyed by the tanks moving forward. And with that, there's no way that I can prevent the American getting to 2,500 points. And that's us. So it was a really enjoyable battle overall, and good play by Yankee Rose. He did really well in the use of his forces. I think that I needed to have moved further forward right from the start, but I think the two key points of the battle were about 17-18 minutes in, when that Stuart Light tank came in and destroyed the units I had holding the centre, and that let the Americans take control of a huge chunk of the map. And then about 24 minutes into the battle, when the Airborne Rifle Squad, commanded by Sergeant Rock, managed to destroy my two Panzers that were trying to get me control of the centre back. But generally, the tenacity of the American airborne infantry was awesome. The fact that they were able to hold on with just 4 guys or 2 guys and keep fighting, keep pushing me back, that was a key factor in the win for the Americans. All those squads just kept popping up time after time and making key kills, like taking out the Wirbelwind and taking out the Panzer IV with satchel charges. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please leave a comment and rate the video, and subscribe if you haven't already and you're enjoying the series. And I hope to see you again next time. Cheers.